fuck you looking at?
Irish cocaine anger.
We're men, and we're not afraid to say that we love other men.
What up, G?
My life is nothing I thought it should be and everything I was worried it would become, because for 50 seconds I thought there was monsters on the world.
What Augean stable of misery do you live in if you fantasize about driving a bus or sitting on a bench? What's next, a breakfast eating simulator? Oh, careful not to burn your digital toast. Now, if you'll excuse me, I have to go play an office simulator. Oh, no wait, that's my job.
Whoa, I think I just figured something out, Beavis. What? This sucks. Yeah, it really sucks. This sucks more than anything that has ever sucked before.
Don't say no for an answer. There's no
Can I see more white women getting clotheslined, please?
People don't understand. People don't understand. People like me. Because these eyes can see right through you. Don't be surprised.
So Snoop Dogg wins the match because Shane McMahon blew his knee out.
Damn, that was bad, bro.
People don't understand. People don't understand. No, people don't understand. People don't understand. No, people don't understand. People don't understand. People like me.
Go ahead, wash your hand of my food. Go ahead, wash your hand of my food. Go on, still do. Go ahead, wash your hand of my food. Go ahead, go on, do what you do. Go ahead, wash your hand of my food. Go ahead, wash your hand of my food. Wash your hand of my food. Go ahead, wash your hand of my food. Go ahead, bitch, do what you do. Nigga, do what you do. Go ahead, wash your hand of my food. Go ahead, wash your hand of my food. Wash your hand of my food. Go ahead, put your foot in my food. Go ahead, put your foot in my food. Nigga, do what you do. Go ahead, cut your food up. Cut the food up, get real fucking rude, bro. Go ahead, cut the food up, with your foot up. Go ahead, bring the flies up. I don't give a fuck, fried up. Go ahead, bitch, fried up. Cut the flies up. I don't give a fuck, fried up. Yeah, bitch, just a lip tonight and get it flipped tonight. Go ahead, wash your hand of my food.
Why people can we have just a quick conversation for a second before we get started here for tonight? Some of you will swear on the life of your children that Indian food is like the best food that you've ever tasted in your entire life. But my question is, what food are you talking about? Because every time I see an Indian prepare any kind of thing that is referred to as food, it is literally the most disgusting thing I've ever seen in my entire life. So clearly there's a disconnect here between what people call proper Indian food and the guy who cuts his meat with his toenails. So where's the middle ground here? What's going on?
I don't know, but there's a lot of fucking like takeout shit in the UK with butter chicken and like curry takeaway. Like maybe they have got it figured out, okay? And maybe there are like if you like Indian food, maybe there's a spot that's really good. I can't stand the smell. I can't stand the food. I think like they use all the wrong spices. I mean, Thai food is where it's at. Thai food actually has a few dishes that like aren't repulsive. So just I don't. My ex-girlfriend loved Indian food. I thought she was fucking insane, and I just told her every time, "You're crazy. This smells disgusting." Not to mention that just like some of those people cook with spices that are so strong. It's like, dude, you smell like the dinner you had 4 nights ago. You know what I mean? It's just So again, I don't know why anybody would like Indian street food. You know, I think that's where that video's from, but good luck, guys. Your digestive system is going to hate you.
I mean, no wonder COVID wasn't a thing in India. Like, it never stood a chance. I mean, there's people's immune systems already. I mean, wow. I mean,
one of the best episodes of The Sopranos, right before Tony kills Pussy, the character. It's like, is it the Edward Island mussels that he had at Artie's place, or is it the chicken vindaloo he had at the Indian place? We will never know. I'm gonna bet it was the Indian food because it was that rancid hit of ghee. That's what did it.
Yeah, I'm gonna assume that it was probably the toenail chicken that caused his severe problem. Hey, welcome, everyone. We are here for episode 106 of the Barroom Podcast, and I'm joined tonight with a lovely group of people who I have with me. Once again, our good buddy Orange Hat is here with us. How you doing tonight, Orange?
Doing good. On my way to 2,000 subs. If I could get a little help.
Yeah, we can all use a little help these days. I mean, apparently, the rule's been laid down this week that you're not allowed to say the F word at all in any portion of your YouTube stream or video, or you get automatically dismonetized. So, Cassie is now going to have to go back and get a real job now. So that kind of sucks for her, but it's so close yet so far. Also, our good buddy John's joining us.
Gotta represent.
Our good buddy John's back. How you doing tonight, John?
I'm doing good. Glad to be back more frequently this time.
I'm not gonna lie. I only just glanced at your sub headline there. I thought it said Black Agent, and I was like, I wasn't the idea based on that. Like, I feel like there was a lot of context that I missed there, but it's like I was said back again. It's like, okay, now that's severely more disappointing. So there you go.
Black Secret.
And then our good buddy, Rob is back. How you doing tonight, Rob?
I'm doing good. I don't know. Like that whole bit was just like what was the Jet Jackson show? That guy, like the last time they did a black super agent did not work out very well. So like let's not
at least in the long term. It definitely did not work out very well at all. So I mean, there's a couple of guys from that old. Some of you guys may not be old enough to remember the Zoog Disney era, and that was like the era of Disney Channel from like 98 to like 2002. And there's a few people from that era who are dead now. Like the main kid from the Jersey is also dead. He died a few years ago. Jet Jackson committed suicide. So yeah, I mean, the shows were great, but I mean, a lot of those guys are dropping off like flies right now. So let's put it that way.
Well, yeah, compared to what they had to endure during the time of being a star.
Mm-hmm. Well, that can definitely slow some things in that direction. We are live here tonight. We are live tonight on all 3 platforms. We got people on Rumble, we got people on X, we got people on YouTube, all 3. So let's go ahead and get some of you guys in the chat. I know our good buddy Keith is over on the Rumble side of things. There's people trickling in on that side. Over here, we got Top Dog with the first question of the night here. He says, movie question for you guys. Do y'all think is the better 2010s comedy films, or comedy series, I guess you can say, the 21 Jump Street movies, the Ted movies, or the Grown Up movies? I'll start off with this one. Grown Ups was not really a big fan of any of those. I mean, let's be very, very honest here. Adam Sandler has had a very, very terrible run with comedies for like the last 25 years. I think it's about time we acknowledge that his movies simply just aren't funny, like at all. The Ted movies, I mean, I know some of you guys who may be Family Guy fans may be into the Ted movies. I'm just not a big fan of Seth MacFarlane, so those movies don't really do anything to me. Kind of by default, I would pick the 21 Jump Street movies, but I will even acknowledge that they're not great. I mean, I've said this before. My favorite comedy movie of the 2010s is probably Tag. If I'm being completely honest with you, like that's the one movie that actually sticks out. It's like, oh wow, that's actually really funny, really heartwarming. Like, it's one of the few movies of that era that truly sticks out as a comedy. The rest just make me want to vomit. But Orange, what was your take here? Which movie would you pick?
None. Give me Paul instead.
Ugh.
I'm sorry. As much as I think Seth Rogen is a piece of shit, he voiced a gray alien like a true fucking wizard, man. Some of the best lines in cinema came from that movie.
That's not true. I haven't seen.
You know.
I haven't. You don't need to know much to be able to dispute that. But no, I haven't seen the 21 Jump Street movies. I haven't seen. I saw the first Ted movie, and I haven't seen. Well, what was the other one?
Grown Ups.
Yeah, I haven't seen those either. So I really love The Other Guys by Adam McKay. It was the last time Adam McKay wasn't a political douchebag with his movies. Even though he's talking about Ponzi schemes and how.
I mean, even with like the Big Short, he was still a tolerable douchebag at that point, right? Like he hadn't gone full Trump derangement syndrome just yet at that point, but everything after that.
Yeah, no, and I have my own personal problems with The Big Short. Like, oh yeah, it was funded by Wall Street. It was funded by the people it's supposed to be criticizing, and it was just like, okay, this is a toothless satire. Go away. But and then Steve Carell's character crying that he made tens of millions of dollars because other people got screwed. I'm sorry, dude. That's not real. That's not a real scene that happened. But that's okay. But yeah, The Other Guys is probably my favorite comedy movie of the 2010s. But I haven't seen a lot of the movies in the question that we're discussing.
John, well, what's your take on this trio here?
I'm gonna say 21 Jump Street because I think Ted wasn't really that funny to me, and then they made like a sequel or something, and I think that one was pretty stupid. And I never saw Grown Ups. I just think it was Adam Sandler and his friends again hanging out.
Literally, that's it.
It's like, hey, let's go to the Bahamas and get paid like $30 million by Sony to make a movie that's not going to do well. It's like, yeah, sure.
It's just tax write-offs at this point.
Yeah, speaking of Sony, I'll get to them here in a second because I got a little preview with their film reviews. But who else do we have here? We have Leslie Tarkin joining us here tonight, saying hail to all you lovely people. I know Leslie had just mentioned earlier that she has a little bit of bad news that her great aunt is passing away, and she may not be on the show tomorrow, but the priest pray for her. Definitely will do that for you to... I want to make sure that I got all of them there too. Yeah, so we had a couple of running back and forth there with Orange Chat, who's going to be in the chat with you guys here tonight. Vanya is also joining us here, saying hello, you fine folks. So shout out to Vanya. Doba Fett's here with us, who loves the re every time of that terrible About a Girl riff by Puddle of Mud, which I've unironically like absolutely love that now. Like every time I just hear it, to me, it's like one of the greatest covers of all time. I don't know how you cannot love that song. Unless you have functioning ears. Neil Zoic is here and then says not here, so no question for him tonight. He won't be able to stay, but he's saying I hope everyone's doing all right for the rest of the stream. But Linda said good night. Hope to see you later on here, Neo. You definitely did not miss your questions there. Who else we got here? Dante joining us here as well. We have Cactus Jones saying, "Excuse me, when I go up, Chuck." Yeah, you don't like Indian street food? What are you, some kind of a racist bigot there, the Cactus? You don't like? All I'm saying here, people, is that if you're going to an Indian restaurant and that score over the restaurant isn't 100 on the dot, run. I don't know what they're doing in there, but you do not want any of that in your digestive system. Just don't do it at all. John is saying hello to you guys from the chat. Spencer, of course, doing his normal boo routine here, saying that orange is actually looking very orange. So there you go.
Gotta represent.
Vanya says that Indian food is disgusting. Very interesting. A person named Vanya saying that Indian food is disgusting. Just throwing that out there as well.
Hey,
I will say this.
India. You're racist.
I will say this though. The most, I think I might have mentioned this here a couple times before. John might have actually been here when I mentioned this. The most disgusting food of all time, and I absolutely hate when people make this. If you're making this, if I'm going to your house, I'm not going to your house. Has anyone ever eaten chitlins before? Anyone knows what chitlins are?
Nasty.
Yes. Okay, so for those of you guys who don't know, chitlins is literally boiled pig intestines. So you have to quite literally, they're prepackaged either like in a bucket or a frozen case. You have to thaw them out. Then you have to quite literally clean it, which is detach all of the gunk and bile out of the intestines. Then you have to boil it for like several hours. When you boil chitlins, your house smells like pure death. It smells like somebody just like opened up a wall and there's like a rotten corpse behind the wall that's been there for several years. And it fills up the entire house. I watched an episode of Diners, Drive-Ins, and Dives not too long ago, the Guy Fieri show, and they made him eat chitlins for the first time. And I was like, yeah, now you know exactly how I feel. I mean, I don't understand why people eat that stuff. People try to say, like, oh, well, you know, this food goes all the way back to the slave time, and this is big when they didn't have much. It's like, okay, we're not in slavery anymore. It's like, we have McDonald's. You can eat better food. There's absolutely no requirement to eat chitlins anymore.
That's not a good thing that it goes back to the slave era. That's not.
Yeah.
Oh my God. I mean, look, listen, I have like, whatever, like I have steamed blue crabs that I eat, and there's like guts and intestines in there and whatever. Like you eat everything. So trust me, I'm not above eating disgusting stuff. I love scrapple. If you are from Pennsylvania or New Jersey and you know how disgusting the process of making scrapple is, I still fry it up and eat it for breakfast. So I'm not above eating disgusting food. I'm good on the chitlins, and I know. Listen, I know grits are nowhere near as disgusting, but what the hell? It's corn.
I mean, like I said, if you haven't been in a house, and I've been, unfortunately, plenty of times, because everybody else in my family eats chitlins but me, and people act like I'm the weird one. The house smells like death. Like pure death. It's not when you like bake an apple pie and then like the smell takes over the room. It's like you just can't wait to eat it. It's the complete opposite reaction with chitlins. It's like it smells like death and you don't want anything to do with it whatsoever. You wish you could jump out of your own house. That's how bad that stuff smells. It's absolutely horrible. Who else do we got going on here? Zach and Cody from the new 2000s versus no, absolutely not. Absolutely, I reject that hypothesis 1000%. The only good ones were the Jump movies. Spencer said that he likes Zach and Cody. Like I said, I was way done with Disney by the time that Zach and Cody came around. It was like my swan song had ended by that point. Maurice Johnson said that the 21 Jump Street movies are easily the best in 20 Twins. I mean, like I said, I don't know too many comedy series that I would argue against that. So I mean, it just wasn't it was not a good decade for comedy movies in general. Let's just put it that way. It makes you racist Jacob. Yeah, exactly. You didn't like the Big Daddy? No. Now, when was that one? I was like 2000. It was like 2000. I think
99.
Yeah, 99. I think the last Adam Sandler comedy that I enjoyed, and it wasn't really technically your typical Adam Sandler comedy, was Anger Management with Jack Nicholson. That's probably the last one that I can point to in the comedy realm. Be like, okay, that wasn't actually that bad. But outside of that, it's like
there's a show called Big Daddy.
No, it's a movie.
Oh,
with the Sweet Life of Zach and Cody, the little kid, the kid that was just they were talking about in the chat anyway. I thought Big Daddy was really good, actually. I thought that was probably his last best movie. Because like I didn't care for Mr. Deeds. I know that that's like a crowd pleaser and people really like it, but and then Little Nicky. Look, I enjoyed Little Nicky when I was like 13. I don't think I can go back and watch it now.
Yeah, right.
It's just so
Longest Yard was good. Longest Yard was good, but I do believe Anger Management came out after Longest Yard, didn't it?
I want to say around the same time. I think Anger Management was I think you're right. It's 2004. I think both came out, but I'm just going off my memory. I don't quote me.
Yeah, even then, like it'll probably be like something like months apart or something like that. So it's very, very close. We can, somebody else can look into this after the fact. By the man, that is the movie, not the Charlie Sheen TV show. I'm not even justifying that one as a real answer.
Okay, so The Longest Yard came out 2 years after Anger Management, which was 2003.
Oh, okay. So there you go. All right, then. Well, let's go ahead because we got a lot of topics to discuss here, and I want to start off with a little bit of sports news because I always love when we can start off talking about sports, just the entire state of what is called the NBA at this moment. LeBron James drafted his son to the Los Angeles Lakers, and I said that very, very clearly, and I said that correctly. LeBron James drafted his son to the Lakers. Now, a lot of people on the 24/7 news, I'll just say news networks, the sports networks, are all running defense for LeBron, saying that, oh, it wasn't his decision. He's not the GM, blah, blah, blah. It's like, guys, he hired his podcast host as the coach of the Lakers, who has absolutely no coaching experience whatsoever. And then they drafted his son, who everyone has said is not ready for the NBA at all. He averaged, 4 points at USC for the little time that he played there. And he just so happens to get drafted by the Los Angeles Lakers, all because a few years ago, LeBron said that he wanted to play at least one season with his son before he retires. So let's not pretend like LeBron had nothing to do with this whole situation. Last week was the NBA draft. LeBron James, who's 39 years old, turning 40 this year. His son, Bronny, got drafted by the Lakers with the 55 pick of the NBA draft. Now, I will say this. I thought it would have been absolutely hilarious, and it would have been a hilarious FU if the Celtics, who just won the championship this year, had actually taken Bronny James before the Lakers had a chance to pick him, knowing that it was a throwaway pick anyway. I was like, just to send an FU to LeBron, I would have absolutely loved it if that would have happened. But, I mean, sometimes, you can't get what you want, so it is what it is. But so this is, everyone's been talking about this because it's clear nepotism, and the reaction from the sports media is like, well, of course it's nepotism, but you didn't say anything when blah, blah, blah happened, as if somehow this takes away from exactly what happens here. Bronny James, the 19-year-old son of LeBron James, was selected in the second round of the NBA draft. This is a kid who, if you remember, he was selected to USC last year. Before the season started, he had his cardiac arrest, which, we're not supposed to question how a healthy and physically fit 19-year-old goes into cardiac arrest and almost dies on the court. But he went into cardiac arrest. He did survive, and he played minimal minutes at USC. He only averaged roughly about 4.8 points a game there. Really, it was nothing impressive at all. And everyone said, look, you need to stay in college, build up, your reps, play a little bit more basketball. You're not ready for NBA play. Well, because LeBron James is basically the guy who's running the team right now. The Lakers drafted him so that LeBron can have a father-son moment this season with his kid. And this is how it was sold to everyone. In the history of the NBA, there's never been a father or son that has shared an NBA basketball court. This is General Manager Rob Pelinka said. That feels like something that could be magical. Sure, I'm pretty sure Lakers fans are really looking for a magical season as they finish 11th in the West. LeBron looks at 39 years old. He's getting ready to play at the Olympic Games this year with Paris. His son's set to join. Not only is his son set to join, the news came out earlier today that he's going to be getting an upgraded contract with the Lakers before the season even starts. So they're not only drafting a kid who clearly can't play, but they're giving him a guaranteed contract as well. And people are trying to convince you that LeBron James has no power on that team whatsoever. Congratulations to Bronny James after being drafted by the Lakers. Magic Johnson said, historic moment because LeBron and their first father-son duo, blah, blah, blah. Talk to you about his time in USC. He averaged 4.8 points, 2.8 rebounds, and 2.1 assists last year in his stellar high school career, which I feel like somebody here is taking the piss. Talked about what happened with him after the fact. Everyone's excited to see how this is going to unfold. So here's kind of the story behind the story right here, is that people are so fed up with LeBron James because everyone's gotten wise to his game. This guy is notorious for killing the chemistry of his team, for essentially taking all of the control away from the front office, for killing his relationship with his coaches. They just fired their coach at the beginning of, at the end of this last season here. Completely threw him under the bus because they lost to the defending champion Nuggets again this season, as if somehow it was his fault that they lost, not just the fact that the Denver Nuggets are simply a better team. So they couldn't find a coach that wants to be the next scapegoat, so they hired JJ Redick. none of the players really want to be around LeBron James anymore because every single year LeBron James finds a scapegoat for the reason why they're not winning the championship. Remember, I think it was last season, Russell Westbrook ended up leaving and going to the Clippers. The year before that, went to the Clippers. He was with the Lakers with LeBron for a while there, and then obviously they threw him under the bus. A lot of players have been thrown under the bus. D'Angelo Russell has been one. Many others. So the free agents are sitting here like, I'm not going to sit here and play a season in Los Angeles where I know the team is trash, and then when we are trash, we are going to start losing. Somehow the media is going to throw me under the bus for everything that goes wrong there. So Klay Thompson, who got called by LeBron James to go play in Los Angeles, decided that he was going to take less money to go to Dallas and play with the Mavericks. So everyone's now wise up to this. And look, the Lakers, the entire franchise is now being held hostage by the ego of LeBron James. Now, they're apparently getting ready to sign LeBron James to another max deal, which I think will be 3 years, which means that he'll be locked into the Lakers when he's 42 years old. He's going to be there for at least 3 years, and they have no other options at this point. They mortgaged their future all on LeBron, and all he's done for them in, I think, the 7 years that he's been there so far is that he won a championship in the bubble during COVID, and that's pretty much how we got to this point right now. So, John, I'll start this one off with you. What's your thoughts on LeBron James' son playing in LA? Is there any more to say here that this is clearly nepotism and this is clearly a power move by LeBron?
It's more or less just nepotism, because even with that, like, I guess even if he's gone, it's like, hey, I at least got to play with my son for a couple seasons or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And then I think it's just more or less like they can have that miracle moment with the Lakers instead of trying to like win a championship, because they got a lot of rebuilding to do at this point.
Yeah, like I said, the word out there is that no free agents wants to go there right now. They got proven, like I said, with Klay Thompson. LeBron personally called Klay Thompson to get him to go to the Lakers, and Klay Thompson said, nah. So that whole thing's like done. Literally went to go play in Dallas. Now they're trying to work a trade with what's his face? I think it's DeRozan with the Bulls. They're trying to get him to go, but I mean, it's like I said, they think somehow that they're still like a piece away from being a championship team. Like, you guys have finished like 10th in the West like the last 2 years. You're nowhere near as good as Dallas. You're nowhere near as good as Oklahoma City and Phoenix and Memphis and all of these other teams. You are way low on the totem pole right now. Your two stars are aging, for almost 40-year-old stars who's now gets to throw up lobs to his son and pretend like it's the most heartwarming thing that we've ever seen in our entire life. Like, just stop. This whole thing's just a farce. And I know Rob here is gonna hate hearing this, but I think the NBA is just as fixed as the NFL at this point. What do you think about this?
I mean, it's more fixed than the NFL because, you know, it's still believably put on a product that most people don't think is rigged or fixed, or if they do, they still watch because it's, you know, it's just too good to pass up. But no, look, the NBA kind of fascinates me because I don't know who the market is for, like who the clientele is, because it's like there's no defense, you know, there's little effort from, you know, throughout quarter 1 through quarter 4. You know, you don't feel like these guys play together as a team. It's just a lot of individual showboating. But yeah, this thing with LeBron James' son. I mean, I heard for months that basically he was kind of a lost cause. Like, he's not nearly good enough to play in the league. He was barely good enough to make a college team. And the only reason he made the college team was because of his name, because of who his father was. So, I mean, you have guys like the All-American Player of the Year, right? Zach Edey. He's going to struggle in the NBA to make it just because of the type of player he is. He still has way more of a shot than fucking Bronny James, which of all the fucking names you could have picked for your son to not have a nepotistic relationship, what are you doing? You're setting this kid up for failure. You're doing everything wrong that a father should do to try to help his son grow in whatever path he chooses. He wants to be a basketball player. Great. He's not going to make it on the NBA stage. You should just be like, hey, try to be an analyst, try to understand the game on a deeper level, whatever, you know, something positive. No, we're just going to like be on the same team and pretend like this is a legitimate business transaction. Okay, sure. We know it's I know it's bullshit. You know it's bullshit. I'm sure the ESPN commentators who tried to chide people for saying, "How dare you say this is nepotism?" This is the most egregious example
this is the most
of
blatant.
nepotism. Because look, it's okay. Steph Curry, right? Even if I had no idea his father was a famous NBA basketball player. It never crossed my mind. You know why? Because when he was at Davidson and killing my favorite college team, the Wisconsin Badgers, out of nowhere, I was like, oh yeah, that kid can fucking play. That kid can shoot. Excuse me. There you go. There's your lost monetization, by the way. Sorry about that. No. So yeah, this is so clearly a form of, nepotism at work with Bronny James. I feel bad for him long term. And the Lakers are not going anywhere. The West is like it was in the early 2000s with 6 or 7 teams kind of at the top. Good luck. You have Denver, you have Minnesota, OKC, Dallas is still there. So, I mean, I don't know what's going to happen with the Clippers now that Paul George left, but it's going to be incredibly competitive, and the Lakers do not have enough to compete, at least for the next couple of years.
No, not at all. And like I said, everyone kind of feels bad for his son because his son's basically being used at this point as a bargaining chip for the ego of LeBron James. And the reason why I feel he's trying to angle now to get a contract extension for the next 3 years, because let's put it to you this way. The second that LeBron James is done with the Lakers, they're dumping Bronny because he serves absolutely no purpose to that franchise outside of LeBron. So his career is only going to go as far as LeBron James' career ends. And like I said, he's turning 40 this year. If he gets a 3-year deal, he's going to be around until the age 42, going on 43. And I know that, LeBron thinks that he's the greatest of all time, that he can basically play at a high level at 42. You're going to have an old star who's breaking down his last few years, a kid who simply cannot play at all, and a bunch of role players who, one, don't even like LeBron, and two, are going to have absolutely no motivation to be better than anything else because they know that all the headlines is going to be about the LeBron and Bronny show, and this kid's going to get way more hate than he's justified here. I've watched quite a few videos of how the trash talk works in today's modern NBA. I can't imagine what this kid's going to go through the second that he gets on that court. They're going to be absolutely relentless against this guy. Orange, are you still there? No. Orange may have stepped out. Yeah, so like I said, this whole thing is just going to be a mess. Like this whole thing is just going to be a complete mess here. Leslie, I'm sorry. Maurice says that if you watch a Super Bowl game, Travis Kelce kept saying Taylor Swift throughout the whole show. Yeah, we mentioned that one a while back ago. Steph is different because Steph was a great basketball player, one of the greatest shooters that the league has right now. I'll say this about Steph Curry. I think Steph Curry has done more to change the game of basketball than LeBron James has, in the sense that because Steph Curry is like the greatest 3-point shooter like of all time, he literally changed the game to where everyone basically needed like 3-point shooters. Back in the day used to be like a luxury. Like you used to have like maybe 1 or 2 players that can shoot a 3 from range. Now it's basically like a requirement, because in order to be one of the best teams in the league, you have to have at least several guys on your team who can shoot at least 40% from 3-point if you're going to compete, because that's the only way you compete with teams like the Warriors. And I know the Warriors are going through their own struggles right now because they got an absolute jackass of a teammate called Draymond Green that ran everybody off. So now their dynasty is over. But I mean, this is just the way that it is. And I'll say this last point here is that the NBA has been so clearly fixed to these major market teams, and it's all a money thing, right? The reason why ESPN always talks about the Lakers, even though, like I said, the last 3 years they've been like the 9th or 10th best team like in the West. But the reason why they always go to talk about them is because, well, looking at the numbers, LA has more people than Oklahoma City, so we'll just talk about the Lakers all day and hopefully we get those fans over there, right? It's the same reason why they cape up for New York City or cape up for teams like Chicago, because they're always trying to pander to what they believe to be is the biggest market of the team. This is why they hate it when teams like, let's say, Dallas, or let's just throw a couple teams out there, Oklahoma City, Orlando, Memphis, San Antonio obviously is another big one. Even though San Antonio won 5 championships, the league hated talking about San Antonio because they were essentially a small market team with a bunch of stars who weren't, loudmouth trash talkers like LeBron James or Kobe Bryant and all these other guys. So it's like they weren't marketable to them. So the league had its way. It would be the Lakers and the Knicks in the finals every single year with all the top players on that team. And guess what? You're just not going to get that. The top teams right now. Boston just resigned everyone for the next 5 years, so they'll probably be the top team in the East for a while. In the West, you're looking at either Minnesota, Oklahoma City, or Dallas, and none of those are locations that be like, oh my god, I have to go there. So that's what you built. So now you got to reap what you sow. So, any final thoughts on the state of the NBA right now?
I mean, I'll just say this: that Steph Curry really did it his way. I mean, he was so good. He could not, I mean, he could get his shot really from anywhere behind, even, what is it, a 35-footer. Like the way that he would just bury it from the logo was just unheard of, unseen. Now we kind of see it all the time. And many people would argue it's ruined the game of basketball. I think those Warriors teams were incredible and great, but LeBron James has always been in the shadow of Michael Jordan. Whether that's fair or not, whether he did that or not, or it was driven by the media. I mean, they did that with Kobe too, but he's constantly trying to overcome that mountain, which he never will. I mean, this is that like when people were trying to make that argument about how Brady's not the greatest because he only has a 70% winning percentage in Super Bowls. It's like he won 7 of 10 Super Bowls. Joe Montana only got to 3. It doesn't matter. You understand that? Like it doesn't, like the same thing with LeBron. LeBron can get to 20 finals. It won't. I mean, Michael Jordan is like entrenched as the greatest of all time for a reason. When you didn't have to jack up shots, he did it for 48 minutes a game. On defense, he got his
6-0 in the finals MVP, defensive players of the years. Like if you actually compare the individual accolades, like Michael Jordan still dwarfs LeBron James. And keep in mind, Michael Jordan did all that with one team. Like I know he went to the Wizards his final year with that 40-year-old year, but outside of that, he did it all with one team. LeBron is essentially a guy who's bounced around from one team to another, chasing a ring because he desperately wants to be compared to Michael Jordan. So he went from Cleveland to Miami, back to Cleveland. Now he's with the Lakers. And let's be honest, if he didn't have his son there, he probably would have went like somewhere else if he probably could either. So it's like I don't have much respect for like guys who, like I said, who ring chase. It's the whole context of like Kevin Durant. Kevin Durant was on Oklahoma City. They were up 3-1 on the Warriors and blew it. So when the Warriors lost the championship that year, what did Kevin Durant do? He joined the Warriors and then won 2 championships. It's like you joined the team that was already a champion before you got there. And then when you left, they ended up winning another chip. So they really didn't need you to win a champion. You just went there because you wanted the ring chase and jump on a team that was already on top.
But see, the problem is if you actually followed the series, they would not have won the series without him. This is the whole thing about like, I understand and I'm biased because Kevin Durant was on my favorite team for a time, the Brooklyn Nets. Yes. I don't talk about being a Nets fan because it's embarrassing. Anyway. So I'm a little biased in that he was the reason they won that series or whatever. You know what I mean? They would not have won without him. So yeah, you're right. He absolutely was like, hey, I'm going to join the best team when I'm already like averaging 32 a game, so I get it. It was a spineless move where you're just like, yeah, I'm not going to be the reason. I'm not, you know what I mean? They don't need me, but you know what I mean? I'm going to join the successful front runner right now. So, and it turns out they did need him in the game or whatever. So whatever. I get it. Yeah. I can see it both ways.
And then, like I said, Draymond, the jackass, one of them ruined everything. He ended up getting rid of Durant, then he got rid of Jordan Poole, and now their other player is gone. So, like I said, Draymond Green's probably my least favorite. Now, he's up there in the top 2, definitely. So, yeah, he's definitely my least favorite player in the NBA as it currently stands. But let's jump over to another story here. I guess this is somewhat of an update to a story, because remember last year we covered this a lot. And Jamie Foxx, who you guys recall about a year ago, mysteriously disappeared for a while, and we were told that he had suffered a medical emergency, and it was during a time period where people asked any questions. Well, what exactly was that medical emergency? You were told to stop asking questions. You wacko conspiracy theorists, even though no one told us anything that was going on. So there was this time period where everyone thought Jamie Foxx was dead. There was a time period it was like, oh, he's brain dead with a coma due to a stroke, and that he had suffered all these medical things, and then he kind of disappeared out of the shadow for a while. Then he reappeared, and we still haven't heard too much from him since this whole thing, and they're still not really telling us what exactly happened here. But Jamie Foxx, apparently there's a video going around, and I'll show you to right here, that he's telling a group of people. Now apparently this was last year, I want to say, or maybe a while back ago, but he was telling a group of people exactly what happened. Here's what he claimed happened. He says that he was dealing with a bad headache. Then he asked his friend for an Advil, and the next thing you know, he was gone for 20 days. He says that he doesn't remember anything. They told me I'm in Atlanta. They told me my sister and my daughter took me to the doctor. They gave me a cortisone shot, and then that's pretty much all he really added there. He says that any further details that he won't say on camera. So there's still some secrecy about what exactly happened here. And like I said, people were saying that behind the scenes he has suffered some form of a stroke. That it was touch and go there for a while. It took him a while to recover, and then we're still doing this whole thing with Jamie. So here's the video in question of him kind of talking about what happened. It's a pretty short one, but we'll go here.
Look, April 11th last year, bad headache. Asked my boy for an Advil. I was gone for 20 days. I don't remember anything. Wow. So they told me, I'm in Atlanta. They told me my sister and my daughter took me to the first doctor. The cortisone shot. Next doctor said something going on up there. I won't say it on camera. I won't say it on camera. Yeah, I don't want to say it on camera. But
so in the video there, if you guys didn't catch the very end of it, he said that he was told by a doctor that there's something going on there, meaning that there was something going on in his brain. And let's just be very clear here. All signs point to he suffered some kind of a stroke. Now, I don't know what's the whole secrecy behind the whole thing, because like I said, it's been over a year now. If he suffered a stroke, I don't know what's the big deal of just telling people that he suffered a stroke, because people suffer strokes all the time. I mean, it is fairly common, even though it's unfortunate. Yes, but people do in fact suffer strokes. I know Jamie's in his mid-50s now, so it wouldn't be completely out of the realm here. But the reason why this is such a story was because during this time period, there was a lot of people suffering strokes and heart attacks and weird heart-related incidents during this time period, while the most of the world was trying to coerce people to get a certain drug and put that into their body, and they were told that it was safe and effective, and they didn't want anyone making any correlation whatsoever that the thing that they were pushing on you may have been related to a lot of the heart-related problems that we're seeing right now. By the way, there was a random video that came out a couple of days ago about a 19-year-old was it table tennis player or something like that, who basically passed out and died right on the court. It was in China, and it was 19 years old, just a cardiac arrest, and then done. Just done. Just what we mentioned with Bronny James, a 18-year-old basketball player in the best shape of his life right now. He suddenly suffers cardiac arrest, and then nobody wants to talk about exactly what happened and what the cause could have been. It's just move on, people. So, like I said, at least now there's giving a little bit more indication of what exactly happened there. Like I said, he just kind of disappeared for a while, but now he's at least coming out and saying that, something happened up there, and we can only imagine what that possibly was. So, Orange Hat, I'll start with you. What is your thoughts on Jamie Foxx's revelation about what his actual health problems turned out to be?
They always lie. I mean... What else is there to say about it? They always lie. They're not going to worry people. They're not going to. They're going to try to play it off. I'm not going to buy any of the bullshit that they sell in this case. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I mean, look, it is what it is. I mean, I don't think anyone at this point is truly being duped into what exactly happened here. I think if you've been paying attention to the last few years and you connect enough dots, you can come to your own conclusion about what exactly happened. Rob, what's your take on Jamie Foxx's health medical emergency, which they're still calling it after a year and a half?
Yeah, I wish I could I wish I had something more to say that was, conclusive or damning. I think at this point I just feel sad. I feel sad for anybody that took this thing, including my parents and people I know and loved ones.
Yeah.
because I'm barely getting back on my feet from everything I lost out on by not getting the shot related to my job. You know what I mean? And so, and I can't imagine people who got it had some adverse reaction. So yeah, I try not to think about it, honestly, because it's incredibly depressing when you just like, okay, is this actually happening? And then just seeing all this kind of evidence pile up, and it's not conclusive technically in a scientific study way, but like it's pretty alarming, and it's pretty unnerving to just kind of be like, oh yeah, this entity that's supposed to look out for us and look for ways to extend human life possibly mass produce this thing without the research, and that's what I mean. Like that's the least of the concern, is that, oh, they just did this because of greed, not that it had some other nefarious, larger, complex conspiracy at work or something. You know what I mean? And so that's just where the starting point is like, oh, they just rushed this out due to greed and they didn't care what the adverse effects were. So it's just like all of those things lined up are really disturbing to think about. So I hope Jamie Foxx is healthy going forward. I hope he does good movies. But it sucks that this has to happen to anybody, much less somebody who's very talented.
Well, I mean, all I can say is that first, if it saves just one life, then it's okay. Everything that we went through, if it saves just one life. Secondly, just judging on that video, I'd rather have him as president than Uncle Joe. I hope he's the one that replaces Biden on the ticket.
Why? So we can just have another puppet?
Well, yes, but a slightly more coherent one.
Well, this one played the president already, so
Django. He's Django.
But I mean, first, I think all of us here wish him well. We certainly hope that he does have a full recovery. All of us, I think well of Jamie Foxx. But if it's something more serious, he should just tell us. I mean, we're not going to hold it against him.
I mean, look what happened to what's his name, Wakanda Forever guy died. Nobody fucking knew shit. He just up and died.
That was before
the fuck happened.
That was before the Vex.
Yeah, well, Chadwick
doesn't matter.
Chadwick Boseman. Yes, well, I mean that was cancer. That was
Norm Macdonald did the same thing. He didn't say anything. You know what I mean? And so that's an old fashioned thing. And if Chadwick Boseman is not from America, if he's from a different, I honestly don't know.
No,
but if he's not, no, I'm saying if he's not if he's not American in terms of his nationality origin, it's like that would make sense that he wouldn't make that public because it's very private. That's a very old fashioned thing.
I believe Chadwick Boseman is from South Carolina, or was from South Carolina.
Well, there you go.
He just did a very good African accent.
It's just like Aziz Ansari. He's from like South Carolina.
He has every right not to tell us. Yeah, he has every right not to tell us what his health condition is. But if it's not something serious, then he should just clear the air and just say, well, it wasn't a major thing. Something affected me badly, and now I'm still working on my recovery, and pretty much just leave it at that.
Yeah, like I said, it would be so easy, but we know that there's a lot of money right now invested into people not asking questions about certain things until they allow you to ask certain questions about things. And like I said, by now I think that we've all known people who have been directly affected by the safe and effective at this point. I mean, like I said, so many people who have mysteriously died suddenly. So many people have been diagnosed with sudden aggressive cancers that just came absolutely out of nowhere, like right after it's safe and effective. Just kind of weird how that happened. And then a lot of other health issues. And like I said, it's I don't want to say it's funny, but it's very interesting how we've been put in a position where we see something that's clearly wrong. Like, even go back to like the whole like Bronny James situation here for a second on a smaller scale. We all know that something's wrong here. We all know something is amiss. Yet it's the media and everyone else telling us to not look at the very obvious thing that is happening right now, is that somehow it's not there. Like, it's literally just gaslighting on steroids at this point, and it's happening all across the board.
Like having an 81-year-old man kind of incoherently ramble on stage, but no, he behind closed doors is like lucid and can do 500 bench presses. And speaks like 7 languages all at once. Yeah, something like that.
And remember, we were told for several years that he was sharp as a whistle, and anyone else that said otherwise was a wild and wacky conspiracy theorist. So it's like, it's almost as if they're lying to you and not the other way around.
Perish the thought. But again, if it saves just one life, it's all worth it. If it saves
silence, I kill you.
Yes.
That one was for Leslie.
Yes.
But John, I'll let you go ahead on this Jamie one, then we'll jump over to our next topic.
I mean, I'm just glad he's doing okay, because I know even in Hollywood, even if he put out the info, maybe it could have affected like all his movie roles and stuff. So I can kind of see why he wanted to keep it under wraps.
Yeah, I mean, we were talking about this not too long ago with Martin Lawrence. Martin Lawrence has had similar issues reportedly with his health, and like I said, he hasn't come out and mentioned exactly what's been going on with him, but there's been reports of, stroke and decline. Now, I don't know with the Martin situation, I don't know like how well that correlates with, the whole shot thing, because I knew that he was battling high blood pressure like a few years before the whole shot, so I don't know if that's a direct response to what's happened there. But like I said, there's a lot of things that are going on with a lot of, different people all over the world right now. Like I said, the fact that people aren't allowed to even question the obvious is what's making people more suspicious, because like I say, you're trying to gaslight everyone into thinking that somehow they're the problem from asking questions, while more 19-year-olds drop dead in the middle of like tennis tournaments. And
well, in fairness, Martin Lawrence, I think his health issues came because he was doing the wobble. Didn't you see Bad Boys? That's what gave him a heart attack when he like wobble.
Martin Lawrence has had a very interesting relationship with Hollywood. I mean, remember, this is the guy that Dave Chappelle talked about, waving a gun around saying they're trying to kill me. So just like, I'm just saying, like, they have these things, these occurrences that happen occasionally. Mariah Carey, taking her clothes off or whatever. It's just like, there's these things that celebrities do and people that seem relatively, with it, have it together, are just all of a sudden insane.
Well, you don't forget Brit when she was shaving her head and kind of just going pretty bonkers.
Not to mention the knife dancing.
Yes, that's still going on.
It's like it's like this town is just driving everyone insane. I wonder if there's like some kind of cabal behind the scenes, but we'll never know. Guess we can't answer those questions here on YouTube. But speaking, I mean,
it's just
I'm not going to deny it
being awful. But yeah, sure.
Or it could be Satan.
Sure.
Outside of that,
Satan.
Let's jump over to another big story here now. For you guys have been watching us long enough, you definitely have heard about this story here. I've been saying that this is going to happen now for about at least 2 years, maybe about 3 years up to this point. And while people have been saying, oh, no, the government will never allow such a thing to happen. Don't worry. We have monopoly laws in this country. So, okay, well, here we are. So Paramount is on the verge of selling all of its assets in an unprecedented time period for them right now. Keep in mind, there was a time not that long ago when they were Viacom, like say 25 years ago. They were the biggest like media giant like in the game at one point. Like Viacom was massive. And when you talk about like what Disney is now and like Comcast has become, like Viacom was there. I know they bought out CBS not too long afterwards. So when you talk about an entity that's too big to fail, wasn't that long ago, people thought that this was going to be a company, but things have changed very, very quickly. There have been a lot of sudden changes with the Paramount brand. As of right now, they're talking about possibly merging with another streaming service, and of course, HBO Max is one of the leading frontrunners now for a streaming venture. Now, to follow the lines here, because this is going to be very, very interesting how this unravels. This was confirmed, I believe, yesterday or the day before. Warner Bros. Discovery has indicated early interest in exploring a partnership with Paramount Global to combine Max and Paramount Plus into one circular streaming service. Paramount Global controlling shareholder Shari Redstone scrapped the merger talks with Skydance Media last night and is proceeding under a new strategic plan under the three co-CEOs to slash costs and explore a sale of certain assets to accelerate the profitability of Paramount Plus in a possible joint venture of what's going on here. One of the potential streaming partner is Warner Bros. Discovery. Right after the Warner Brothers Discovery deal was finalized, like literally weeks after that, there was talks about Paramount being bought out by Warner Brothers Discovery. And then once you have those three companies all in one umbrella, then there was also talks of NBC Universal coming in and eating that one as well. So you're seeing four major media companies being swallowed up as one in real time right now, while people are still trying to claim that it's not happening. Here's what I think is happening here on far as this story goes. Is that if they're trying to make a big sale happen, they know that there's going to be a little bit of a pushback with certain properties. We saw this with the whole Fox and Disney deal a few years ago. There were certain properties that Disney was not allowed to buy due to monopoly laws, so those had to be either separated with a completely different entity or be sold off separately. Disney wasn't allowed to buy those. I think what Paramount is doing now is that they're selling away the assets that they know is going to be problematic now when it comes to, except monopoly laws, the U.S. government, any kind of like SEC regulations. They're getting rid of those assets now to sell those off, so they won't have any blowback. And then once those assets have been sold off, then they can go ahead and just sell the whole company with what's left. So they're basically doing a preemptive strike here. If you guys didn't know earlier, Paramount pretty much nuked all of their online websites for their popular entities such as Nickelodeon, MTV, BET, among others. All of their sites, all of their archives have been completely wiped from the internet. And then this story came out roughly a few hours ago. This is earlier this afternoon. Paramount reportedly in talks to sell BET for $1.6 billion in a buyout led by CEO Scott Mills. BET, obviously Black Entertainment Television, has been one of the biggest channels on the portfolio of Paramount for many, many years. Now there's talks about selling that off for $1.7 billion. A private equity firm, CC Capital, is one of the firms in talks of buying this. I don't know if that's a Chinese name. We can look into that one here in a second. That'll be an interesting turn of events. But citing an anonymous source says that BET Media Group comprises of the BET cable channel, VH1, and other networks, BET Plus Streaming, and BET Studios. Reps for Paramount Global said that CC Capital declined the comment, but as a result of this rumored move, the stock price closing 5.7% on the day to $10.72 per share for the company. It was last reported that BET is less than half of the $3.5 billion that Brian Allen extended it for back in late 2023. That came after Paramount Global in the earlier year exploring a sale of a majority stake in the company. Some of their bidders at the time was Tyler Perry and Puff Daddy, so I think it's a good thing they didn't sell the Puff Daddy when they had the opportunity. That didn't go off very well, but yeah, so a lot of these corporations are looking to sell off their assets. There's talks now about possibly MTV being sold out too. And look, let's be honest, I'm not sure if any of you guys have seen MTV recently. Over the last almost 10 years, it feels like every time I go travel like out of the city, or I go to like another state or whatnot, I end up watching MTV like in the hotel room. Doesn't matter what day it is, doesn't matter what time it is, it's just 24/7 reruns of ridiculousness over and over again. It's been that way for years. Here's what I think the big problem is. This is why so many cable companies and media companies are hurting real bad. about 20 years ago when we converted from analog cable to digital cable, that kind of expanded the channel base to now all of a sudden you have like 1,000 channels to watch. Remember back in 2002 where it was like, oh my God, there's 1,000 channels to watch. I'll never run out of things to watch. And in about roughly 3 years, people ran out of things to watch, right? So these companies had to endorse millions and millions of dollars to produce content to justify the existence of a lot of these channels. Well, now here we are 20 years later, and there's really no content to justify even 70 cable channels up to this point. So it's like, what is MTV now? Like, you used to play music on there. You haven't played music on there in 20 something years. You had a revival there like 10 years ago with like Jersey Shore and Teen Mom, but now that's over with. What is the justification of MTV staying on the air right now? Nobody can really think of one. What's the justification of BET right now? BET was only a special thing like in the 90s when there wasn't a whole lot of black centered networks at that time. Now that's no longer the case. They're not the only one in the game. So there's really no justification for a lot of these networks to stay in business. So because of that, they're either going to shut it down or sell it off. Here's where we're at right now. So Rob, I'll start off with you. We've talked about this for a while. What's your thoughts on Paramount selling off assets and possibly being bought out here within the next couple of years? What's your take on this?
Yeah, I mean, it's interesting because, Paramount is one of the original 5 studios. It's, and their merger with, I mean, this goes back a long time. Paramount has kind of been slowly dying for 50 years. They were bought by Gulf Western, an oil company back in, I think, the 60s. And it's the 50th anniversary of one of the greatest film years ever, 1974. Chinatown, The Godfather Part 2, The Conversation. All of these movies are coming out on 4K Blu-ray this year. And of course, it's the year that Paramount Pictures is dying. Bringing Out the Dead, it's another great film that came out in 1999, is also getting a 4K release this year. So it's very fitting. And it's unfortunate. CBS has enjoyed being the default channel of old people that they fall asleep to. And, I make that joke, but seriously, old people love CBS. It's their friend after all their other friends have gone to the great beyond. So, and look, there's things I like about CBS. 60 Minutes is an institution, even if it's a echo chamber of the elitist, news media now. It used to be a really good program where you could get good information, good exposés. I love CBS, NFL football. But yeah, I mean, this is a dying format, a dying product. There's not much to say. I mean, Comedy Central was a great entity that they owned, and they let that die. I don't know what the hell is going on with some of these business models. This is separate from this topic, but A Quiet Place Day One is getting a fucking digital release. Sorry, there's my second fuck. Third. There we go. No, but it's getting a digital release a month after the 30th of July. It just had a $98 million global weekend. What the hell is wrong with you people? It seems
that's how it happens when you need the money.
No, seriously though, it seems like they're sabotaging their own business. And so I feel like we're heading towards a somewhat slow decline that's going to speed up rather quickly. I hope it doesn't. You know what I mean?
I don't even think it's very slow.
Yeah, but I mean, for the last 100 years, the movies have existed. You know what I mean?
Fair enough.
It's like, I don't want it to be the case, but look, antitrust laws exist for a reason. They're not going to do shit. Okay? There's going to be, 3 companies now that own 97% of the media in this country? So
if all of these things do happen the way that we believe that they're going to happen, you're going to be left with essentially Comcast, Disney, and Sony. And Sony's a mess right now, so I wouldn't be surprised if somebody like an Apple or Amazon would swallow them up. And then this is how it's going to work, right? Because at that point, you're only really going to have like 2 major studios and that's it. But then they're going to try to gaslight you into thinking, well, it's not a monopoly because Amazon still exists, or Apple still exists, and all these other companies, yeah, but they're not film studios. Like, they're corporations that produce movies. They're not film studios. We're talking about the old school Hollywood system of once upon a time, we had 31, at least at one point, 31 studios, some major, some mid, some lower, all operating in Hollywood at one point in time. And now we're looking at a future where you're probably going to be down to about 2. And let's be honest here, NBC, Universal, Comcast, are they really still much of a film studio, or are they just like a giant corporation too? So this thing might already be dead. It might maybe actually be worse than what we're selling it right now. So
and then did you see that? Did you see that A24 got something like a $3.5 billion infusion of cash? So it's like if you, I couldn't tell you what the business reality is for film production companies, because it's like everybody else is dying. A24 just got almost $3.5 billion with the. It's just like,
well, okay. I mean, A24 for the most part, they can just like make dirt cheap movies for like $5 million budget, so they can make a lot of money just with that. And honestly, that's probably the only way that you're gonna. I mean, then again, you have to ask yourself. I mean, how many of these smaller studios are going to get such a huge influx of cash to produce movies like that? But it's going to be a hard fall for a lot of these major studios at this point. And let's be very clear here. We've talked about what's going on with Disney. They're not in great shape either with their properties. Comcast, they're losing a lot of money on Peacock and a few other properties. So none of these big corporations, big studios are doing well right now. They're all hurting, and we could be just looking at total collapse in the Hollywood industry in the next few years. Rick, what's your take on the Paramount situation?
I don't really have much because I don't subscribe to HBO Max or Paramount Plus. Well, I'm only reminded of when MGM eventually fell. It was the biggest studio, made the most lavish films, but they were mismanaged, and eventually they faded away, and now it's just a memory. It looks like Paramount's going the same way. My real concern really now is that whatever existed in the past, people are not going to have access to it. There's already talk about how the MTV archives pretty much were wiped out, and I understand the BET archives were wiped out. Whatever films the Paramount made outside of maybe the big ones, maybe what was it, Sunset Boulevard, and trying to think like The Apartment, those types of really big films. The smaller ones, they're going to fade away. And I don't see Turner Classic Movies bringing them back. They might, but they're running the risk of not having that. So we're going to lose a lot. Technically, they still exist, but the public is not going to have access to them. I don't think they're going to release them on DVD. I don't think they're going to release them on their streaming services. A lot of them don't release it. Disney hasn't released a lot of their films on Disney Plus. So we're going to lose a lot. And for all those people who constantly mocked me for buying physical, oh, well, you can find everything on streaming. You can find everything online. No, because it's the people who control those streaming services that decide what will be on and what will not be on. It's not availability, it's access, and we're going to lose access, and we're going to lose a lot. But it's sad, but this is apparently the way people want. You look at Rob was talking about Rob or Jacob were talking about some of the networks. MTV doesn't play music anymore. Well, look at all the other networks. I've said this before. The Learning Channel, TLC, doesn't broadcast any educational program. It's just like My 500-Pound Mistress or whatever. A&E doesn't portray any arts and entertainment. It's I don't know what
History Channel, Discovery. Yep.
History Channel doesn't show
any. The Travel Channel is just nothing but like ghost hunters now,
yeah,
and I was like,
and what is it? Adventure Unknown or Explore Unknown or something like that. Bravo used to show documentaries about Martha Graham. Now
Bravo is just the gay channel now.
Yeah,
Martha Graham, Twyla. Sorry.
Yeah, they used to show that. They used to show documentaries about them, and like these smaller art films. They don't do that anymore. AMC. Remember what that stood for? American Movie Classics. It was a Turner network. It was Turner Classic Movie type channel.
Now they're the Walking Dead network.
It's a Walking Dead in more ways than one. So eventually, of these channels eventually fade into something else.
Yeah, I just want to say real quick, there is a little quote from this show called 6 Feet Under, which was on HBO in the early 2000s. And it was talking about like the Bush America, right? The 2000s, and how like all people care about anymore is watching debutantes get screwed up the ass. And I think about that every time we talk about reality television. And that's really what any of these shows are. I mean, it might be Home Improvement, it might be My 800-Pound Life, but basically we just, it's like there's all of this content that's there to just show how soulless and empty, and again, maybe the Home Improvement not so much, but how empty and soulless American life is, and celebrating it. That's all any of these things do. The History Channel used to be amazing. The Discovery Channel was genuinely educational. A&E was a great resource for biography. Bravo did the Inside the Actor Studio. Do you know how much I would pay for that? I would pay to own inside every episode of Inside the Actor Studio, just because it's an invaluable resource. You know what I mean? So it's like, it is a shame that they're allowing all of this to go to waste when it's like,
because they'll appeal to the lowest common denominator.
Yeah.
You look at all the programs that they had on A&E, like, Mysteries of the Bible, biography. They would feature foreign language films. Bravo would also do that, and AMC would have all of these. They made special programs, but it was film related. Now it's nothing. The History Channel. Yeah, you learn about history, but now it's nothing but Pawn Stars and American Restoration and American Pickers. That has very tenuous connections to history. And oh my gosh, the Learning Channel is the worst. I mean, it went from the Learning Channel where
Dr. Pimple Popper, you mean?
Oh gosh, I don't even
know. Pimple Popper MD?
I don't know. So yes, it's a devaluation, and that's what we're getting with this merger. And that's what we're going to get. We're going to get more and more junk, and people are going to keep watching it. Go get your physical media. I'm buying a lot of old A&E videos, so I've got something to remember.
It's Idiocracy is what it is. If you guys have seen Idiocracy by Mike Judge, it's just, you guys, the movie said it's going to take like a couple 100 years. No, it's not. We're going to be there in 50. We'll be there in 50 fucking years. And sorry, there's another one. And then I'll be dead, but so,
well, you might still live there.
I'll be dead, because that's literally, never mind. I can't say anything like that. But yes, things will get very depressing very quickly. But hey, I will at least have my movies on disc.
I might drive up to Pennsylvania and get some soap and just wash your mouth with it, Rob.
Yeah, didn't work when I was 8, and it's not going to work now.
Well, I would probably need
a try Dial soap.
Yes, it's very disgusting.
I might, yeah, but the only thing I might need a step ladder to reach. So,
yeah,
Johnny, what's your
5'2"?
Johnny, what's your take on Hollywood dying in front of your face?
I think people are just realizing streaming isn't as lucrative as they thought it was going to be. That's why they just keep selling their IPs and everything else to each other, because they're just hemorrhaging money.
I think it's not going to get much better. I can tell you that much right now. And like I said, I just feel like within the next couple of years here, we're going to be in a rough spot with entertainment. So I made this rule here, and this is lead us into I guess our next topic here in just a second. But I made this rule because I found out over the weekend that the Beetlejuice 2 movie, which comes out later on this year, is going to be 2 hours and 45 minutes long. Keep in mind, the first movie was only like 90 minutes long. Yeah. Beetlejuice 2 is almost a 3-hour movie. I don't know what is the justification of this. I don't know. It's just the way that it is. And I was like, I can't do this anymore. I can't sit here and just like waste my life on like 3-hour movies that are just mediocre. It's like, I can enjoy a 3-hour movie if it's good. If it was from a director who I actually trust. It's like if Tarantino was making a 3-hour movie, it's like, okay, I would probably give that a chance. Scorsese was 3 hour. I can give him a chance because I know that he's done well with that time frame. I don't trust one of the writers from Rick and Morty to do a 3-hour movie and make it good. Who in your right mind would actually do that? So I feel like I'm gonna start being like, look, any movie that is I'm not gonna do it based on time, but I feel like anything that's a movie that's above like a $40 million budget, I just can't watch it anymore. I just can't do it because it feels like the hit and miss ratio. It's like. It's got to be like 3%. It's got to be like Shaq's free throw percentage at this point, the way that these movies are hitting and missing. Am I crazy by saying that?
No, not really. But Beetlejuice, Tim Burton, as much as I like the man and his movies, they're entertaining. They're not 3-hour long worthy.
Like, what was the justification for the other hour? Because, we're adding Jenna Ortega, guys. This is amazing. Like, no.
The only way I'm going to watch a 3-hour fucking Beetlejuice movie is if Jenna Ortega's taking off all her clothes.
It's like, first of all, Winona Ryder looks like an absolute mess. Like, they're trying to make her look like a 50-year-old goth woman, and it just does not work at all. Even with all of the movie magic and the makeup, whatever, she looks just distraught in that whole film. Then you're bringing back Michael Keaton, who's almost 80 at this point. It feels like he's close to 80.
They brought him back for Batman, for heaven's sakes, because some 40 and 50-year-old men could not let go of their past. So of course they're going to bring back a nearly 80-year-old Michael Keaton to relive their old glories.
It's kind of interesting. I want to point this out. Like, if any of you have seen Birdman,
yes,
you know, like the great thing about that movie was the sort of meta commentary that this fucking Batman coming back to make this movie that's existential kind of thing, but it's also like shitting on superhero movies. And then what does he fucking do? There's another one. God damn it. But listen. Michael Keaton does Spider-Man. He does the Batman movie, and now he's doing Beetlejuice again. And it's like, Michael. This is why actors have no fucking God damn it. Have no credibility, okay? They have no backbone. They just want to work, okay? They just want to work. They don't have any integrity, okay? I love Michael Keaton. I grew up with him. I absolutely adore Beetlejuice and Batman. I do not want this movie so much. I wish someone would burn it so it would go away.
But you also, remember, we just got this year Ghostbusters, where you had to drag all of these old men to fill in because nostalgia.
Rick, this would be like if Harold, or excuse me,
Frost.
Who directed the Ghostbusters, the original Ghostbusters movie?
Ivan Reitman.
Ivan Reitman. This would be like if Ivan Reitman agreed to do that piece of shit Frozen Empire movie. You know what I mean? Basically is the same thing. Tim Burton, Jason Reitman didn't do it. He did the previous movie. He wrote Frozen Empire, or at least was part of the writing staff for that. Anyway, I need to defend Jason Reitman, apparently. But that's what this is like. Tim Burton has not made a good movie, I would argue, since Big Fish, since 2003. He's been 0 for 8.
What, Charlie and the Chocolate Factory wasn't to your liking?
It was a giant mess.
I liked the third
Big
Ghostbusters
Eyes
movie, you jackass.
Was that Tim
sounds
Burton
like a personal
movie?
problem.
Yes, it was. I think it was. I think it's just that people, again, I think here we're getting Beetlejuice because it's a well-known product. It has name recognition, and a lot of people just are not letting go. There is no justification to make this a 3-hour movie. I think we've sat through some 3-hour movies. Wasn't Ghostbusters Frozen Empire rather long, like over 2 hours?
But it wasn't.
Look, I know some of you guys may be fans of like Mars Attacks. I would probably argue that he hasn't made a good movie since Ed Wood.
Oh yeah, Ed Wood was.
Sleepy Hollow. I have a soft spot for Sleepy Hollow, even though the plot falls apart in the third act.
Yeah.
Well, it's very atmospheric. I give him credit for that.
Yeah.
A lot of blood. Love that movie.
Yeah.
Again, it's a known name. That's why they're doing this. But there's
You had Alfred's last run in that movie.
I don't even think. Well, I think he was also. I think he did the voice for one of the characters in Alice in Wonderland or Alice Through the Looking Glass. I think he did. he did a voice there. I think he played the dodo. Point being, do we really need a Beetlejuice sequel? Do we really need a Ghostbusters sequel? Why are we still getting all of these projects? Because people, I guess, won't let go of the past. It really is time to let go.
Sometimes some things are actually in the past are good. And yes, I am going to disagree with Rob. The Ghostbusters, if done right, can actually be a good pass off to a newer generation.
But they haven't done any of them right. Not the 2016 version that you refuse to recognize, and not
there isn't the 2016. The 2021 one was actually decent and actually had a
all-female
one.
The all-female one.
There is no all-female one.
Yes,
I don't know what
it's non-canon. It's non-canon.
I don't know
so
what
it doesn't count
anymore. It doesn't fucking exist.
It existed. It existed. I went to see it. And then we had today asked me about Independence Day Resurgence. Come on. Do we really need that?
Oh God.
Independence Day Resurgence was okay,
terrible.
but I don't think it's that good. I mean, people don't realize that a fucking world government is very fascistic.
No. When the giant like alien like busted out of the ship and started chasing the school bus, I was like, I'm done. This whole thing was a mistake.
Yeah, that thing just jumped in the air. It's like
when the mad science
and then you know what's gonna happen. And then you know what's going to happen now is that it's going to happen within the next year. I bet everything I got on it. Will Smith is going to do a social media announcement saying, "Hey guys, we're back. Independence Day 3, and I'm going to be back in this one." Even though they killed him off, they'll find some way to bring him back. No one actually stays dead. Like I said, it's the future now. They'll resurrect his corpse.
He's dead in a test accident. They left the door open to a sequel in Resurgence.
Yeah, where they go to space.
And I was one of the people in the theater who was screaming, "No sequel! No sequel!"
It'll be like Fast and Furious rules. No one actually dies, even though we show them die. The only person who's actually dead is the guy who actually died in real life.
Harry Connick Jr. is gonna come back in the fucking third one. It's like, yeah, I didn't die in that F-15 or F-16. Yeah, I totally fucking lived in Independence Day, man. They just picked up my head and took it to Area 51 and put it in a jar.
They froze it with Walt Disney.
Like I said, they'll use some kind of weird alien revival tech to bring back Will Smith's corpse.
As for Beetlejuice 3, the only real thing I want to see fucking Jenna Ortega in it, I don't even think I want to see her in anything unless it's full-blown nudity.
No, I wouldn't even want to see her.
Well, she's not going to be in Scream 90 or
no,
whatever.
They fucking fired her ass.
Yes, I keep saying.
Well, no, she quit. The other girl got fired.
Keep saying they should start the new Scream
sorry for the
with.
F-bomb.
I think they should start the new Scream with them being killed, by Ghostface in Gaza. So like they're marching for Palestine and they can stab.
Yeah, let's do a slasher movie in the Gaza Strip. Let's do something new and exciting.
Everybody has knives here. That's not going to work.
No, instead of knives, Ghostface, the Arabic Ghostface just shoots them with like a big bazooka.
He's already in a hijab, so
exactly.
Make a joke out of that. I don't know.
Okay, let's move on to our next topic before we get ourselves fucking booted.
It's just gonna be like Ghostface being peace to the Prophet Muhammad. Yeah, instead of stabbing people, he just beheads them. So it's like, well, we're upping the stakes here. Let's talk about Captain America 4, as I like to call it, Black Captain America. That's basically what it is.
Blacked in America.
Blacked in America. Blackity black and I'm black, y'all. So this film is an absolute disaster. There's no way of sugarcoating this. There's so many Disney projects that are just falling apart at the seams. We just talked about Blade last week. And Blade is an absolute mess. Now we're talking about Captain America Brave New World has purportedly ballooned to a $375 million production budget because they essentially have had to reshoot the entire movie once but twice. So the whole story of this film is that a couple years ago, Disney decided we're going to do Black Captain America, which is based on a comic book version of the character that nobody likes to this day, but they wanted to be progressive, so we get in Black Cap. And then they shot the movie, it got test screened, and it test screened horribly. So it's like, okay, we'll fix a couple of scenes, and then, we'll do it again, and then hopefully we'll make the movie come out. So then they fixed a couple of scenes, they cut out some scenes, redid the movie, and then it was like, oh, it did even worse than the last time. So then they decided, you know what? We're just going to go out there and reshoot a couple of acts in the film. And by reshoot a couple of acts, they meant we're going to reshoot the entire movie all over again. And in the course of doing this, they've now ballooned this thing to a $375 million production budget, which as of right now, they still have not finished shooting this film. So this could go up to $400 million when it's all said and done, which will make it the single most expensive MCU film ever.
They're gonna have to hit $1 billion just to break even.
If they pump this budget up to $400 million, it's gonna have to do like $1.2 billion to break even. Like, this is gonna have to be like an astronomical success just for them to get out of the red. Like I said, the Blade.
This ain't happening.
Yeah, they need like a 3.5.
This is going to be in $700 million loss.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they need a 3.5 times multiplier, basically, because of the cost of the fucking thing. It's just like, it's just gonna crush them.
And this is all production. We haven't even gotten to marketing yet.
Yeah.
So it's like this is just absolutely brutal. And like I said, it's for a character that nobody likes in a movie no one asked for. No one asked for a Black Captain America movie. Nobody wants. Nobody wanted this.
That's not true. We wanted representation. We were tired of having Captain America be only white, so we needed a Black Captain America so that little black children could see themselves.
Mm-hmm. So they can see themselves in the country that they hate. Yeah, that's great. So Black
and that hates them. Remember, I saw the American Society of Magical Heroes.
So they did this with the whole Falcon and Winter Soldier Disney Plus show, and I guess that was a preview for this movie here. And this is what happens when you just have massive unchecked ego. A lot of these projects that Disney is doing right now, Kevin Feige cannot just come out and say, hey, you know what? Let's just give up on all these projects because none of these things are going to be a success. Blade at this point is not going to be a success. This movie isn't going to be a success. The Daredevil Born Again is not going to be. No one's going to watch Agatha or Ironheart and all this other garbage that we have lined up. Let's just start from scratch and do it all over again. That would require them admitting some kind of failure, which they absolutely refuse to do. So because Disney, all they know how to do is double down and triple down and quadruple down. They have ballooned this unbearable film to $400 million. So keep in mind, with the reshoots for the Marvels, that movie cost $270 million to make. I think it barely made $200 million worldwide at the box office. If it did, it was barely enough. And that was a massive price tag. This film is now more expensive than the Avengers movies that they spent God knows how much movie, and there's no stars. There's no stars in this movie. Like you put your entire future on Anthony Mackie, a known douchebag, to be the front and center face of this entire franchise. There's no actual stars attached to this movie whatsoever. It's just Black Captain America, and that's it.
Well, maybe they'll have some cameos pop up that people will get excited about. Maybe Julia Louis-Dreyfus will pop up.
Mm-hmm.
Tulsi Gabbard, yeah.
All I have to say here is that, remember, I think it was like a year or two ago, we talked about the Captain America, what was it, Wakanda Forever movie that came out. That movie had a bloated budget with a lot that they spent in marketing, and because of that film had to make like $1 billion to be a success, and it didn't make that point at all. If they're spending $400 million on the production here, you're talking about, like I said, well over $1 billion to break even. And like I said, the only film in the last 5 years that has broken the $1 billion mark for the MCU was the last Spider-Man movie. And that was a Sony movie, which means Sony got like 75% of that profit, not Disney. So this is just, I don't know what to say about this. Like, this is just terrible, like all aspects. let's start with you, Rob. I mean, what do you make out of this? Like, what can you possibly make out of this whole thing?
Before he goes, I do want to make a prediction. There's at least going to be 3 fucks from him.
Okay, here we go.
Well, we've already this program's already been demonetized just by the
Doesn't matter. I have a reputation.
Yeah, I might as well just do this.
What the fuck? What the fuck? What the fuck?
Y'all can't control
this
yourself.
This is the same playbook Disney has been enacting since Lightyear, at least.
Yeah.
It's just shooting themselves in the foot. It's there. As Rick always says, who is this for? I mean, it must be for the modern audience. It must be for young people who clamor for a black Captain America so that black Americans can see themselves draped in the American flag and not feel like a KKK member is going to show up outside their house. You know what I mean? It's like the most trivial, banal, reductive kind of prevented it right there. Nonsense that, just it has no place in any kind of creative or artistic realm. It's embarrassing. It's embarrassing that they put the name Disney on this and trot out another bloated piece of crap. And I will keep saying it. I actually feel bad for the fans of this stuff, because if I was still going and spending my money and spending my time on something that left me a long time ago, man, find another abusive relationship and take it from somebody who's been in many. You're better off on your own. You really are. So I hope Disney is the next company to crash and burn, just because I don't think they produce anything of value. And
that's cute.
Again, I feel bad for the people that, again, spend all this time on Disney Plus, on Star Wars, on Marvel, because these things used to have merit. They used to have worth. They used to have a currency, an actual cultural currency. Yes, I'm saying that about intellectual property material, but it's true. It's like you really can't deny that. So at this point, I think it's too far gone. I don't think there's any way to save Disney. I think that they want to crash the ship. They want to go down like the Titanic, because there's no justification for the decisions they've made here in the last 5, 6, 7 years. I mean, I was done after Age of Ultron. They were still relatively okay at that point. You know what I mean? So I don't know where they're going to go from here other than keep sliding down.
Like I've said many times, once we got to Endgame, people, the normies, quote unquote, pretty much checked out. That was it. The long saga of the world's longest and most expensive soap opera ended for them. And they weren't going to invest in the Disney shows. They weren't going to invest in the new characters. They weren't going to invest in a new season or phase 4, what have you. They just didn't care. It was only a small group, and they were catering to that small group, as well as the people who wanted representation, because representation mattered. No, I mean, they got representation with Black Panther. They didn't. I don't know if they needed a black Captain America, or I'm still, I guess, waiting for the Mexican Black Widow. So so that maybe I could have someone to look up to. It doesn't make any sense. They really should just end it. Kevin Feige is, I don't know. I like to think that he is technically in charge, but he's not, because any sensible person would have just said, let's just stop. There's no point to keep producing things that are not going to make us money, that nobody's watching, that nobody really cares about. But sometimes people become so addicted, they are determined to prove them wrong. They're determined to prove their critics wrong, and they're going to keep producing something until they get it right, quote unquote. So this Captain America movie, they're going to prove all their naysayers wrong. It's going to be a critical and commercial hit. It's going to sweep the Academy Awards, because they are so determined to prove their critics wrong. It's no longer even about the product. It's about proving that they are right. It's an ego thing, and it's going to sink all these properties. So what it's sad. Rob is right. It's sad. but that's the way they want it, and that's what they're going to get. But who's really going to rush out to see Captain America: Brave New World? Who's really going to be there, standing in line? I'm
fans,
fascinated.
unfortunately.
I would love.
I honestly don't even think that even they will. Like I said, this character, this Black Captain America character, is basically on the same line of Miss Marvel. Miss Marvel was a comic book character, got crafted in the last like 10-15 years, that was propped up by like industry pros trying to gaslight you into believing that these characters were actually popular. And then when they did our Disney Plus show, no one watched it. When they were introduced her in the movie, no one watched it. There's no actual fan base out here for Black Captain America. They're gonna try to do their damnness to pander to black people to get them to support this like they did Black Panther. It's not going to work. Like I said,
they got the Little Mermaid. Isn't that enough?
No. Like I said, this whole thing is this is a disaster. And I would just say, you know what? I would just eat the $375 million, because it's probably going to be a lot less that you're going to, because then you're going to have to like put in like another $250-300 million to market this thing. That's just more money you're going to burn. So you might as well just write off what you've already lost as a tax to write off, because it's not going to get any better from here.
You know, it's interesting that they did that with, what was it, Batgirl?
Yeah.
They filmed the movie. I think they just needed a few more scenes, and they killed it.
To be fair, Warner Brothers only sunk like $90 million in that film. So I mean, it wasn't even like that hard of an eat for them. Like, this is almost $400 million.
Yes, but I think again, it's an ego thing. They just have to prove that they're right. You know how sometimes you keep doing something in the effort to eventually prove that you're right. I think this is the case here.
It's terrible. Oh my God, it's terrible business though. These are business people. These are business people. Okay, I can't stress that enough. And they're making these decisions. It's terrible business acumen. Like, keep doubling down. You keep hemorrhaging money. You're not going to have any left if you keep doubling down.
Because no one on the Disney board is willing to tell Feige or anyone at Marvel, enough. Stop. They're letting the inmates run the asylum, and they're determined to just let them have their own way until someone on the board says, no, we're cutting you off. That's what Daryl Zanuck did when he took power again, seeing how Cleopatra was sinking 20th century, and none of the board were willing to stand up, not even to Joseph Mankiewicz. They weren't willing to stand up to Elizabeth Taylor. She and her court and all the people, they were the ones calling the shots, until Zanuck came back and he said, you know what? You're going to sink the studio. You need to stop. We're cutting off your check. Wrap up the film now. And that's what happened. Of course, the film ended up being kind of a jumbled mess because Mankiewicz never had a chance to put anything together that was coherent. He did the best he could. But we need a Zanuck type figure to go to Disney and say, you know what? We're cutting you off. We're killing this phase 5, phase 97. We're killing it. We're killing the shows. They're not bringing in money. Until you get a Zanuck type figure, you're going to keep seeing this series keep collapsing, and you're going to keep seeing the Brave New World just go further and further down, and it's not going to recover.
The difference is that this will never recoup its losses or it's the amount of money that goes into it. Cleopatra made a profit. This is what
eventually it took a few years.
It made a profit. This is never going to make a profit. And I know the business is different, but still.
Yeah, but it wasn't just that. The 20th Century had the good fortune to get the rights to Sound of Music, which also saved the studio.
Hey, John. Let me ask you this: as someone who's cosplayed as Black Captain America, what hope do you have for the MCU at this point in time? Like, is there anything that as a fan that you even get excited for anymore?
Not really, because like I used to say, like it should have just ended with Endgame, and even with them continuing now, it's just like the Blade movie. It's like it seems like they don't have any, I guess, plans. Truthfully, I think they just kept thinking because like the TV shows were just made for Disney Plus, so they had content because that's when it first came out. And I guess that some people would just never get tired of superhero movies, and it's obvious that we are now. So everything's just hemorrhaging money at this point.
Maurice says, "Can you explain how people are saying Disney is doing good by Inside Out 2 made $1 billion?" Yeah, I know that movie. I think is up with the biggest release right now. But like I said, even in a vacuum, you have to look at it from this perspective. That film probably is going to end up making a few $100 million. But how much has Disney lost at the box office in the last 2 years alone? Like they've had literally several films, several out of the Disney library that have lost over $100 million at least. Some over $200 million or more. So you can't sit here and say, "Oh, well, they're making money with this movie." It's like, what about the other 7 that lost over $100 million? Like that's not the good business. It's like that's gambler math. You know that's gambler. That's when you go to the casino and you tell everyone you won $50, but you don't tell anyone that you lost $500 before you won that $50.
Yeah, that's Joe Biden inflation math.
Yeah,
is what that is. It's like you don't bring up what it was when he got into office. It's just like, hey, things are going well the last couple months.
Yeah, but we got the Biden boom, so stop it, Rob. Wait, I'll just explain it this way. Inside Out 2 is built on a property that many people actually like, and it probably does not cost as much to hire voice actors as it does to hire actual actors.
Well, it's interesting you say that because the original cast did not come back from Inside Out. And remember, the original cast was Amy Poehler and Bill Hader. And so,
I didn't know that.
Yeah. So, and I'm assuming they saved money on that, which is why they went in that direction.
So, yeah.
Well, real quick here before we head out, because John, oh crap, I forgot I was going to put John back on there just for a second, but yeah, he had to call out because his dog was barking, but I was just going to give a quick old shout out to John for joining us here on the show. I was going to let him speak, but then he ran out of there before I gave him the mic, so screw him. There we go. He says, heading out, have a good night, y'all. But yeah, go finish your point real quick, and then we'll jump over to our last topic.
Oh, no, I was just saying, I forgot what I was saying. Go ahead. Move into the next topic.
Can I fucking speak?
No, you can't.
No.
Well, you use the forbidden word, Orange, so you cannot speak.
All right, go ahead, Orange.
I mean, the reason why I said that I think it might bring in Hulk fans is because Hulk fans have been clamoring for Red Hulk, and and it's been kind of spoiled that Red Hulk is in the movie. With what's his name?
Harrison Ford, who may be 100 years old before the movie comes
out. I know, right? And they got. First off, nobody fucking wanted this movie. Second off, I'm still going to call it New World Order because you think Brave New World is. You just switched Brave with Order, or Order with Brave. I'm sorry.
Even in the context, yeah, it doesn't make it any better.
No, it doesn't. Because here's the thing, folks. Do you not know that people know that as a freaking code word or code tech or code word?
There's the novel. Yeah.
Brave New World. It's a good book.
I mean,
yes.
They honestly think that we're stupid. And then they say, I remember a day back in early 2000s and even 2010s when banks would literally say no more money if a movie went over budget. If a movie went over budget, they had to stop production, dig down until they freaking paid the bank, and then they could continue their production. Otherwise, they were screwed. And the freaking studio lost money before the movie even came out. But now they basically did a deregulation, and they're allowing freaking Disney to get away with ballooning budgets. Disney is in debt, folks. People don't realize Disney is operating in debt. And all it takes is a brave bank to say, you know what? We're calling it in. Pay your debts. You have 3 years. They could have 20 years and they still won't be able to pay it. Because it's like they won't let go of the message. They won't let go of doing disgusting things to kids. They won't let go of any of that, and they'll continue losing money because people are sick of their shit. I mean, this movie is not going to make them money. They're going to lose. I'm going to call it right now, on record, right here. They're going to lose $700 million on this movie.
That's if it ever sees the light of day.
There's no way that they can recover the
They
production cost. But really, and then think about it. How poor does your movie have to be where you're reshooting it, twice? Do you not have a script? Do you not have a producer? That's what a producer is supposed to do.
Look at what's going on with Blade. They announced that movie 5 years ago. They haven't shot a scene of that movie in 5 years. They've gone through 2 directors, 5 screenwriters, and they haven't shot a scene. He has, what's his name? Ali hasn't even been on a soundstage for that movie yet.
Yeah, and then you still got to get, production designs, and you've got costume fittings. You've got to set all this up, and you've got to hire the other crew. It takes a lot to mount a movie, and these are people who have allegedly been making movies for 100 years, and they don't know any of this. No one's minding the store.
Steven Dorff cursed that movie. He told them, he's like, you are never going to be able to make a movie that rivals what we did in the 90s. There ain't going to be a Blade movie because you guys suck at what you do. Guess what? There hasn't been a Blade movie yet.
What you needed to have is the script ready, the actors all signed, your director signed, and someone to oversee the production. That's what a producer is supposed to do.
Well, maybe hire some actual qualified people here, because I think I mentioned this one a while back.
All this bullshit, yeah.
Julius Ona, who's the guy who's directing this film, his only films that he has directed was a 2015 indie film called The Girls in Trouble, some kind of bootleg action movie. He directed the Cloverfield Paradox, which was a film that was not even actually really a Cloverfield movie. It was a marketing tactic by Netflix. And then a film called Lucy, which was with Octavia Spencer and Naomi Watts or several years ago. And he's the director of this thing.
Lucy?
And then
that was Scarlett Johansson.
No, not Lucy. Luce. Sorry. Yeah, her name's Luce on the name.
That's actually a really good movie. That actually made my top 10 of 2019.
I haven't seen it.
I would
2019 because this came out in 20. Wouldn't that one come out?
So, it might be 2020, but that was a really good movie. I would recommend anybody to go see it or to see it whenever you can. But
yeah, you're right. It's 2015. So 2019, I should say.
2019. Okay.
Well, it's a bit like when they hired Chloe Zhao to make Eternals.
Yeah. And then the writers of this movie are basically the writers from the Falcon and Winter Soldier series, and that's it. That's what you have.
They're basically filming a season 2.
Like I said, I don't understand how you balloon to $400 million. You don't have any name actors, you don't have any name directors, no hit writers. It's like, what are you actually spending this money on? But then again, they've shot the film twice now, so maybe that's part of the reason.
And
why.
Again, I go back. I go back to this. Was it Godzilla -1 was $12 million, and look how good that turned out.
I think to put that into perspective here, with how bad this is, with the money that they spent on Godzilla -1, you could have made that movie 42 times for the same amount of money that they've spent on this Captain America movie. So, yeah,
and you think about Godzilla -1, made for $12 million, critically acclaimed, many top 10 lists, wins best visual effects over all of these films that have 3, 4, 5 times the
budget. And their visual effects team actually still wants to speak with them, so that's also another plus for them, man.
So,
but we're gonna hop over here to this last topic here to keep things kind of in lieu with the MCU and the star of She-Hulk, which is probably the worst television show ever. Like, I still haven't seen or have been presented any other show that will qualify as worse than this show.
It's worse than Echo?
Yes. It's unironically worse than Echo. I'm not even joking when I say that. So it's that bad. Tatiana Maslany here is the star of the show. She was in Orphan Black. That's kind of where she got her name. And then she did She-Hulk. And I don't know. She hasn't really done much else since then. She made the rounds not too long ago because apparently she had to come out in her home country of Canada. So once again, those Canadians, I really believe that we just built the wall in the wrong country. I really just believe that's exactly what happened here. She's now objecting to parents in Canada having a say over their children's pronouns and gender identity and sexual identity. She believes that it's not the job of the parent to tell the child what to do. So here we're coming where like Canada is going like full dictatorship here. So it's going well for them. But Canada has a newly enshrined Parents' Bill of Rights law that came out that says that, you know, these creepos doing things to your kids, probably not the best. But the series of events that led to this creation kicked off obviously 2023. We've talked about the one in Florida for a while, so obviously this is definitely expired by that law. But there was then Prime Minister Dustin Duncan announced a new set of policies surrounding the subject of children's sexual education. Duncan made a requirement for schools saying that a student requests that their preferred name, gender identity, or gender expression be used, that the parental guidance percent will be required for the parent, for the student under the age of 16 to engage in a review the involvement of any third-party organization supporting school divisions, teachers, delivering instructions to kids' sexual health. So basically making sure that, you know, the weirdos don't come for your kids there. And obviously that's a problem for some people. A little note here says that in case the students believe that they may be harmed or if they were informed their parents of this decision, the policy states that if there's a reasonably expected that attaining parental consent be mentioned, the subsection is likely to physical, mental, or emotional harm to the pupil. The principal shall direct the pupil to appropriate professionals who are employed and retained by the school. I don't think that makes it any better. Like, I understand the provision there, but I just don't think that makes it better. I think that makes there a loophole. Outside of that, there are people out there that are responding to this whole thing. The University of Virginia, which is in Canada, by the way, it's Pride Center for Sexuality and Gender Diversity teamed with the Canadian LGBTQ advocacy group AGO Canada to challenge the implementation of the foreign policy on the grounds that doing so will be supposedly violate the rights to light, liberty, and security of the person. Basically saying that, you know, if the parents are too involved with what the kids are doing, then that's going to be problematic for the kids. Good luck gaslighting people into believing this. But the She-Hulk star came out and there was a whole video. She said backing up, I guess opposing the opposition to putting this law into place here. I do have the video so you guys can check it out here to see exactly what she said in this clip. So let me just roll over here. It is Twitter video, so I mean you gotta do what you gotta do, but there we go. Hopefully you guys are able to hear this one. It might come up a little low, but I think you guys should hear it.
It should not be the control of the parents whether a child, how a child identifies, how a child knows themselves to be. That isn't a parent's place. It's an overreach. It's an overreach on the part of the provincial government to legislate that. It's absurd. Children have rights. Children are human beings who have knowledge and who know themselves. And we should be taking cues from them. In so many ways, we should be taking cues from them.
Yeah,
sounds
that was
like Kamala Harris.
Bitch is retarded.
But there's more there. There's a second video that I wanted to play here too,
God.
and
I also,
it's Canada. Like, look. Believe it or not, I used to like Canada once upon a time. I know that sounds weird coming from me. Like, I know some of you guys like find this hard to believe. Well, I mean, besides that, like, but it's like I did somewhat like I didn't hate you guys for a while, and now you guys have like rapidly become like my least favorite country like ever. Like there was a time period like 10 years ago. If you made me force between like Mexico and Canada, I would have picked Canada all day. Now I'm legitimately picking Mexico. You know how bad that is. Like how hard you have to turn me to pick
You're welcome
Mexico.
to go over to Juarez anytime, Jacob, but you go by yourself.
It sounds safer than Canada.
I'd rather deal with Montezuma's revenge than deal with Canada.
I mean, well, here's another one of her political pandering speeches here.
And I also, as a Canadian, it's strange
it
to
out.
be standing up here when we are witnessing the genocide of the Palestinian people at the hands of
Canadian
the
Joe Biden.
colonial state, and we watch
and we do nothing. And I would say with whatever platform I have that we can't do nothing, and I would demand that our government demand a ceasefire, stop funding the genocide, stop being complicit in it. Thank you for this honor. Thank you for being here. Free Palestine. Thank you.
By the way, this
Fuck
is a 40.
Palestine.
But by the way, just in case you guys need any further reference, this is a 40-year-old woman who has no children of her own. I just wanted to make that clear because it seems to be relevant information to this conversation here. But here's one more video of her talking about like this whole LGBTQ nonsense and expanding on it just a little bit more.
Just asking you if you could put into words what that role has meant to you. And
Orphan Black?
Yeah.
Well, it's funny. I mean, I was a working actor in Canada for 15 years before that happened. So it's strange when something hits in a way that then puts you in a different category or whatever it is, different visibility. But again, I'll say, like, I know how much of that is luck. There's no reason that show should have hit the way it did. And I was just excited for myself to be part of something where I got to play so many roles and stretch myself as an actor. There's no sense of, like, we're even going to go to a second season. So gratitude at all levels for what that show did for me, and also the community that gathered around that show, which is also what brings me to, Lulu's Lodge, is like, I know how important that show was to so many young 2S LGBTQ kids in seeing themselves reflected and feeling like the show was a safe space. So anyway, that's,
But by the way, in Canada, they actually add to the LGBTQ. So it's not called the LGBTQ in Canada. It's called the 2SL GBTQ plus blah, blah. I'm not even making it up. That's literally what it's called in Canada.
Spirit,
so
I believe, is the first part.
So they start with got to start with the Native American trans people. Yeah.
Yes, because they're more of a victims than the regular trans people.
That's right. She looked like a refugee who just came over from Yugoslavia. Look, this is the big, okay. I don't care what you're advocating for. Okay. Literally, like, it could be for whatever, feed the children. Whenever you position yourself as like on the side of the feeble and the defenseless and it's just it's horseshit. It's bullshit. Okay. Like, I know what bullshit sounds like, and it's exactly what came out of that woman's mouth. So, and again, it's just a lot of word salad. It's a lot of, feel sorry for the disenfranchised, but really it's just nonsense. This is a woman who lies for a living. This is who actors are. Actors lie professionally for a living because they're good at it. And so whenever you have one of these causes, whenever you have somebody who wants to get up, again, she's talking about basically like letting kids be a different gender if they want to be. Kids say all kinds of things. Kids should not be in control of like major decisions about who they are and who they're going to be. That should be clear to anybody who understands very basic child psychology and just anybody that understands common sense. There's a reason why parents are legally your guardian for the first 18 years of your life, so you don't irreparably fuck the rest of your life up. So that's pretty much all I have to say about this. This woman's an idiot. I did enjoy in Destroyer that she got her face absolutely destroyed by Nicole Kidman. That was fantastic. But so yeah, go see Destroyer sometime. It's good movie. But yeah, that's pretty much all I got for that.
I mean, the way that I see this is that this woman, in her youth, she had a decent run as an actress. She had potential, but now she's not an actress. She's an activist. There is a difference, folks. An actress or an actor, they'll go out and do their fucking job without really giving a shit about world views and whatnot. Where activists, they'll go out and not just do activism, but they'll pretend to do a job that they're supposed to be doing. I mean, as far as I'm concerned, children don't know fucking shit until they're on their own. And I'm sorry for the F-bombs, but I'm going to be blunt here.
And let's be very honest. There's a lot of adults who probably don't know shit either.
And probably shouldn't even breed. But as far as Canada, yes, they have a very dictatorial government. I feel bad for a lot of my friends who actually live up in Canada. But with Tatiana Maslany coming out and saying, "Oh, kids should have, or they have knowledge." No, they do not. Somebody should slap you and say, "No, you don't know what you're talking about, because you're an idiot. You are a retard. You are held back and hindered by your own ignorance." Kids don't know what they even want until they are in their 20s, as far as I'm concerned. They can say they want this, they can say they want that, but then it is up to the parents to actually give them a little bit of wisdom and education and knowledge and say, now with this in your head, do you really want that? Know that if you want to be a trans person, you are going to be a lifetime medical patient, and I am not paying your bills. As far as the whole pronouns thing is concerned, anybody who is confused about their pronouns are delusional. They suffer from mental handicap. If you don't know your own pronouns and you think you are some other pronouns, you don't need somebody to affirm your status. You need somebody to teach you that you are what you were born as. You need a mental institution is what you need, and the proper medical care. As for her saying, "Oh, free Palestine," fuck Palestine, fuck Israel, and fuck anybody who thinks that America needs to get involved in this shit, because we're fucking running out of money and it's killing our fucking economy. And that's all I'm going to get there. But this woman is absolute bonkers, and nobody should take her seriously.
Yeah, like I said, never trust childless white women about the discourse between you and your kids. That goes.
I love how they love to play the white savior. It's like, what the fuck do you know about any of this? You think? I'm sorry, Jake, to get involved.
You're Canadian. You're barely human. Like stop.
Yeah. Well, not only that, it's like, if you have a problem with the Palestinians and you want to free Palestine, get your fucking ass on a jet, go over there and fucking free them.
Mm-hmm. Go use your ACR money and bring the victims over to your home. So they can go live in your house. And then jihad you in your own place in Canada. You should go over there. Yeah, it's just so stupid. Rick, what's your thoughts on this whole thing?
Well, first, I don't hate all Canadians. I love the kids in the hall. So there's that.
Norm MacDonald too. There you go.
Yeah, and John Candy. Who doesn't love John Candy?
Right.
I'll say, I don't know why we defer to any actor or actress as an expert on anything outside of their chosen profession. Now, if I want lessons in acting, sure, I can go to this person, even though I don't think I've seen any of her programming. So I just think that the part about where she talks about the parents don't have a right, that's a little concerning, because I think the parent has sole rights. Who is she going to defer to? I don't think I'm going to defer to my child and he or she's going to tell me what's what. The child's not.
Remember, just real quick, this is the town of Hollywood that believes that a 3-year-old can make a choice that he wants to be raised as a girl now, and then they'll claim with a straight face like, "Oh yeah, my kid's been trans since he was 3."
Well, that's interesting. I think if a child wants to do that, he or she shouldn't quite be coddled, but you can let them.
Here's how you handle a 3-year-old who says he wants to be a girl. You're not. Now go back in your room.
Well, no, I'm reminded of, and I'm going to go back into the past, and I know you don't like it when I do that. When we talk about Katharine Hepburn, for a while after her brother's suicide, she said that she was a boy. She called herself Jimmy, cut her hair short. Eventually, she worked her way out of that and became a woman again, or she never really was not a woman.
She was also a lesbian, but yes.
Or bisexual, maybe. We don't know.
Whatever.
Point being, she didn't, if she had been around now, she would have been declared a boy because she declared herself a boy. But she didn't stay that way. She moved out of that and went back to being Catherine. So that could happen with a lot of these other kids that we declare trans.
Sounds like she had a mental breakdown.
Well, I mean, in fairness, I think it might have been a result after her brother's suicide, and she did find him hanging. So it might have been a reaction. I don't know. I'd have to go back into that.
Psychotic break then.
Point being, the parent ultimately has the authority over the child. It's not the actress. It's certainly not the state, and it shouldn't be the state. It should be the parent. My parents were in charge of me. I think all our parents are in charge. I think CS, if she were here, would say that she and her husband are in charge of her kids. It's not going to be Stacey Abrams, the legitimate governor of Georgia, who's going to decide what her children are going to be or what they're going to do. But then again, we have to remember this is Canada, so this is Fidel Castro Jr. allegedly who's running the show. So that there's dictatorial tendencies in that family allegedly, because we don't know if he is really a junior.
Yeah, I mean, when she sat there, she had the audacity to say that that we need to defer the children, and saying that we should be taking cues for them because they know what's right for them. It's like you understand that that's like literally the argument that pedophiles use, right? Like pedophiles would be like, oh yeah, well of course she's 9, but I mean she totally consented to it. Like that's the argument that they're going to be making here, and that's pretty much the last rung on this train to degeneracy that we have left is pedophilia.
That's minor attracted people.
No, it's pedophiles, and like I said, even them trying to find a way to soften who they really are, it's like basically a step towards normalizing them. So once we get to that role, like there is no other, like people talk about, oh, it's a slippery slope. It's like after we hit that, there is nothing else at the bottom. Like there is nothing else there.
I still don't understand why I have to defer to a minor. If I have a 4-year-old or a 6-year-old coming to me and telling me, oh well, you got to do what I tell you. Why should I listen to them and take orders from children? I don't understand the logic in that.
Yep. And like I said, this is all about, at the end of the day, destroying the home, destroying the family. They don't want you to have any dominion over your own kids because obviously you're essentially the safeguard between your children and the world that desperately tries to pervert them into their nonsense. And they want to make it so that the parents don't have any right or any ability to stop them from doing evil things to your own kids, which is why they want to fight so hard against these things. This is why everything that we see in our society today is all about destroying marriages, destroying relationships, destroying any safety of a household that a kid's supposed to be raised in, because once we can destroy that, then we can pervert them with evil stuff that we have planned for them, that nobody else be there to stop them and get in our way. So yeah, I mean, at the very core, it's evil, and then even outside of that, it's downright just sickening what we've been doing here over the last few years of this. And like I said, I haven't had much to say about the She-Hulk actress. I think she's an idiot. Like I said, don't trust unmarried white women with no kids about how to raise your children, because they literally don't know what the hell they're talking about. And then she, like I said, I don't know what that Orphan Black show that she was on. I never watched that, never cared for it. Everything I've seen her in, she's been in trash. So F her too. So
look, I'm not going to argue that there aren't bad parents. There are bad parents, and there are parents who let their kids run over them. But at the end of the day, they're the parents, and their decisions, right or wrong, to my eyes, they are the ones who are supposed to be in charge. I shudder at the idea that my children, should I have any, will tell me what to do or that I should take orders from them. No, we need to go back to that because I said so. School of thought.
Mm-hmm. Amen.
Yeah. So, any final thoughts on our topic here of dumbass She-Hulk actress saying let the kids do what they want, even if we're gonna do evil things to them?
Yeah, fuck her.
I mean, I wish I had that soundbite still on there, but I got rid of that a while ago. That would have been a perfect one for that one.
Oh man.
Well, unfortunately, we've reached the conclusion here of our show. Episode 106 is in the books now, so this is where I go ahead and let you guys tell people what you got coming up, so I can get rid of you guys. So let's go ahead and start with this man over here, Rob Motto.
Thank you for having me again, despite all the cursing.
The headaches,
just
the demonetization.
Don't even think about it. It's just
lack of
flies
funds
out of my mouth. Yeah. So, but you can always find up what I'm up to on my Twitter down there on the screen. I just released a 100 best westerns of all time. Getting my reviews out very slowly. Just July. This is going to be a terrible month. We got Twisters and Deadpool 3 coming up. Oh boy. I thought 2024 was going to be better than this. It's just not happening. So, obviously I'm very tired, but yeah, check out my Twitter. I have stuff on there. I watch movies a lot of the time. And that's pretty much it. Check it out.
All right. Jumping over to our good buddy, Rick Aragon. How you doing tonight?
Oh, I'm doing very well. Thank you. I've got my reviews coming up. So I've got my Bike Riders review coming up, and I'm still working through my Golden Girls retrospective, as well as getting ready for Turner Classic Movie Summer Into the Stars. I'm already starting to watch the movies of some of the actors who are going to be featured, starting to write my reviews for that. So we've got that coming. We've got the Golden Girls retrospective, more reviews of the films that I've already seen this year, and yeah, that's pretty much it. So thank you. And that includes a really crappy film about a family affair, but the song is good by Mary J. Blige.
Oh, but by the way,
how was in that?
Yeah, how was that movie? By the way,
it was shit. Thank you, but it's still slightly better than Argyle.
What's your official rating for that one?
Like, can I give half? Can I give? Actually, can I
Yeah.
give a quarter? I'm gonna give a quarter.
No.
Okay, half. But it's slightly better than Argyle. Slightly.
Yep.
It barely edged it out.
I'm sure it did. Orange Hat. What do you got coming up, friend?
Well, I have this month I have horror theme on my theme streams. I just got done doing extraterrestrial horror and stuff today at 1:30 Eastern time. Next week is going to be nature horror movies like Jaws, Peter Benchley's Creature, and other things. Wednesdays, this month, Wednesdays are, I can't remember what Mara chose for the 1s and 2s, but we're doing for singles, we're doing Legend of Tarzan, and we're doing Last Voyage of the Demeter, that's going to be sometime in the next couple weeks. Obviously, this week is not going to be doing those because, well, Independence Day and all. I have a new streams on Monday called the Monday Night Rants, where people can come on and rant about what they want, as long as you keep that stuff down to a minimum, or as long as you don't do any Twitter drama or anything against personal attacks against people. Friday night is Orange Hat Uncensored, and Sunday night is the weekly recap and Acolyte discussions with my friend Nerd with the Cigar. I got to get off and talk or watch the Acolyte now after this stream, so pray for me. I'm trying to reach 2,000 subs before the end of the year. If I can get to 2025 subs before 2025, I will do a special, or I'll do something special for my subs. But yeah, that's the goal. I've already got the watch time. I just need the 2025 subs now. And yeah, other than that, that's basically all I got so far.
All right, letting you guys know what I got coming up. So this Friday night, Rick's not going to be here, but we should have a couple of special guests. Maybe our good buddy Christian Toto will decide to join us this Friday night, because we're going to do a full retrospective of the latest series. We got part 3 of this coming out this week. It's a film called Maxine, but we will be talking about X and Pearl on Friday night as well. So we'll do kind of a lead in with those 2 movies and then talk about the new one. I know I'm going to watch that one tomorrow night, so I will be a little bit late for the 01 stream with Bounding in the Comments tomorrow. I probably won't be in until roughly like around, I say 10ish, but I will be joining in the second half of that show, so that's what we'll be doing tomorrow over there. Friday night, like I said, Friday Night Movie Club will be doing that show. This coming Sunday, we're going to do the next episode of the Bible Lens podcast. I'm going to be live again. There was a last minute thing and I forgot about, and I had to do a pre-recorded version for last Sunday show. That won't be happening this week. I will be back live for the Bible Lens show. And then we'll be back here once again, episode 107 for the Bar Room. So thank you to everyone who joined us here tonight. Thanks to John, obviously, for joining us on the show. I know our good buddy Neo is in here, so I'm going to give a quick little rundown of everyone else who was here on the show tonight. Top Dog, Leslie Tarkin, Tactus Joe, Zavanya, Doba Fett, Spencer. Who else do we have on here? Maurice Johnson, shout out to you as well. Who else? I want to make sure I give a shout out to everyone before we wrap things up. Condescending Josh, who was here for a little bit. And make sure, got you. Terminator Joe, Fistful, quick shout out to you. Shout out to Gothics. Obviously Keith over on our Rumble side. What's it? Ice Productions. I want to give a shout out to you too, and everyone else. So till then, adios. See you. We'll hopefully see you guys on Friday night, because Friday night is definitely going to be a good show. You definitely want to check that one out. If not, we'll see you guys on Sunday. If not, we'll be back here once again with another show. Who knows? I may just ask people to review another movie and then not review it at all, because I didn't feel like it. So if not, we'll see you guys next week. Adios, goodbye, and good night.
It's over. Go home.
Get the hell out! Get out! Get out! Get out!
Okay.
Get out! Get out! You get the hell out!
Never mind who you thought I was. I'm Rick James, bitch.